Hey boys and girls, it's Mr. Mac. Today we are going to be working with models and working with adding and subtracting. So on first example we're going to jump into, we're going to start with 3 and 56 hundredths minus 1 and 21 hundredths. Now, we see subtraction like this and we automatically think, let's just put them on top of each other and subtract. We're going to get to that, not today though. Today is going to be just where we're drawing our pictures, okay? So let's actually start out with an addition problem, just because I like to start with addition when we do these first. So 3 and 56 hundredths plus 1 and 21 hundredths. So I start with 3 wholes, and we talk about, these are called flats, okay? And then 56 hundredths, that's 5 tenths, which would be longs. There's 5 of those. And then 6 of these hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a little unit cubes. We're going to add that to 1 whole, which is another flat, 2 tenths, and 1 of these little hundredths cubes. So when I'm adding these together, simply I am adding my wholes together, my tenths together, and my hundredths together. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes. So that's a 4 in the ones place. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths. So that's a 7 in the tenths place. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hundredths in the hundredths place. So it would be 4 and 77 hundredths. Now, when we're doing these problems, I'm going to get my eraser, okay, and try another one. Sometimes when we are adding these pictures together for a problem like, let's say, 3 and 72 hundredths plus 2 and 45 hundredths, we draw our pictures, 3 wholes and 7 tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2 hundredths. For the other one, 2 wholes, 4 tenths, and 5 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, when we have a problem like this, okay, we're still doing the same thing where we add the ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. But when we add our tenths together here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 of them, excuse me. So when we have 11 of these, the issue with this is going to be we can't put an 11 in the tenths place. So we're going to regroup. Okay, 10 of the tenths would equal a whole. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All 10 of these are going to regroup to be another whole. So instead of 5 as my wholes, I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to say I would have 6 wholes, because 10 tenths is equal to 1 whole. So now I have 6 wholes. Well, how many tenths did I have left? I had 1 tenth left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the hundredths. So my answer would be 6 and 17 hundredths. Okay, now, if I was to do this problem with our traditional, we call it the standard algorithm, okay, I would say 3 and 72 hundredths plus 2 and 45 hundredths. The biggest thing when we're doing these problems where we are adding decimals and even subtracting decimals is lining up your decimal point, okay? No matter how many digits there are on either side, you're always lining up your decimal point and then adding just like you would add any other problem, and your decimal comes straight down. So what do I mean by lining up your decimal point? Let's say we had a problem that was 1 and 3 tenths, and we were adding 32 and, sorry, I'm running out of space here, 56 hundredths. My decimal right in there. When I'm adding those together, I would put my 32 and 56 hundredths on top, because I like putting the bigger numbers on top. And then 1 and 3 tenths would go just like this. Okay? Because our decimals still need to line up. Everything over here is like there's a 0 there. They're imaginary zeros. So now you would be adding 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 3 is 8. Your decimal comes straight down. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 0 is 3. So your answer would be 33 and 86 hundredths. Okay, so this is for my adding of decimals, the model and the standard algorithm. Now, if I wanted to do subtracting, okay, a lot of the same things are going to apply for when I do my subtraction here, guys. So when I'm doing my subtraction, let's go back and do an example similar to we talked about earlier. 3 and 56 hundredths minus 1 and 24 hundredths, we'll say, okay? Now, if I'm drawing the pictures like we had talked about before, a model representation, same idea. I'm going to draw 3 holes and then 5 of my tenths and then 6 of my hundredths. But now, instead of drawing 1 and 24 hundredths, since I'm just subtracting, all I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take them away. I'm going to cross out what we're getting rid of. I'm getting rid of 1 whole, I'm getting rid of 2 tenths, and I'm getting rid of 4 hundredths. So my answer is going to be for this problem, what is left after I've subtracted? So I've got 2 wholes, 1, 2. I've got 1, 2, 3 in the tenths place, and I've got 2 in the hundredths place. So my answer would be 2 and 32 hundredths. Now, if I was using the standard algorithm, just like we did with the with the addition, okay, I would do 3 and 56 hundredths minus 1 and 24 hundredths. 6 minus 4 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. My decimal comes straight down. 3 minus 1 is 2, and it's still going to be 2 and 32 hundredths. So it doesn't matter if you're drawing the model or if you're doing the standard algorithm for the subtraction. It's going to give you the same thing. You just need to remember when you're doing the subtraction, you're drawing a picture for your first number, and then you're just taking away from that. All right, we're not adding anything on like we did with the addition, so we drew both. We're taking away from that first number that we have. All right, another example of one that is going to be a little bit more of a challenge, kind of like we did with the addition at first, is when we do have to regroup or borrow. All right, so let's say we're doing 6 and 21 hundredths minus 3 and 19 hundredths. Okay, I'm still going to draw my 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm still going to draw my 21, so 2 tenths and 1 hundredth for 21 hundredths. If I'm taking away 3 and 19 hundredths, take away 1, 1, 1, there's 3 of those. Now, I take away a tenth, but I'm not able to take away 9 hundredths from the 19 hundredths here. Okay, so just like in any other subtraction problem, if you're not able to subtract, you need to borrow. You need to regroup. So we're going to look to the neighbor here and say, all right, hey, neighbor, I know that you're a tenth. Well, a tenth is made up of 10 of the hundredths. So I'm going to cross out this long here, and I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hundredths. Okay, and this is just like any other regrouping problem where you cross something out and borrow from the neighbor and then add 10 because it's 10 times the value. That's what we're doing here. Okay, we're just simply borrowing from the neighbor and regrouping it so that we can take away some hundredths. We still got to take away the 9 hundredths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That leaves me with those hundredths there. Okay, so when I look at what I have left, I have 1, 2, 3 holes. Okay, my decimal place is next. I don't have any tenths left. They're all gone. So I have 0 tenths, and then I have 2 hundredths left over, which would be 3 and 2 hundredths, which I'll slide that over so we can see that a little bit better. Okay, so this is a good example of when we have to regroup. Now, we would do the same thing if we had to regroup in the tenths place, except then we would borrow from the whole. You always borrow from the neighbor that has more. Okay. So this is a tough lesson when we're drawing the models. I feel like it's a really good way for us to really visualize, though, and to understand exactly when we're borrowing what is actually happening. All right, so this is actually going to help us with several of the lessons in Module 14 because this is 4 different lessons that we just covered. 2 of them are adding and subtracting of decimals, and then 2 more are showing with pictures and visuals how to add and subtract with decimals. All right. Hopefully this can help you guys with your Module 14.